of the Meek, where we watch made-for-TV movies and miniseries so you don't have to. From Gia to Xenon, Hysteria to Sybil, welcome to Movies of the
Meek. And it begins. So my Super Psycho Sweet 16 is the story of Sky Rotter, who her father owned a not ice skating rink, a roller blading rink in her local town in Atlanta, and he ended up committing a series of murders. And it is about a girl throwing her Super Sweet 16 party, and she decides to open up the roller rink yet again. And hilarity and madness ensues.
Oh boy. So my first question is, so Sky's father, did he own the rink or was he just an employee? So I thought they said that he was a manager.
I thought he owned it.
I'm looking it up right now, but I'm pretty sure he was a manager, which made it really funny that he lived there as a manager.
Yeah,
like the mascot / manager of a roller rink lives at the roller rink.
that was my thing as well, which is, you know, he clearly lives there and he's there with his daughter, and yet he ends up being, he's the king of the rink because it has, you know, like a Renaissance fair type theme, and my thing was, he clearly hates children and he clearly hates being there. And yet he has to be this character that goes and does all these birthday performances. It's like, you do have other employees. We see them. Just don't be the king of the rink. Hire anyone else to do that.
Just be the owner.
Just be the owner.
Yeah, I agree.
This entire movie wouldn't happen if he had just hired one person to do that.
If he wasn't so cheap.
If he wasn't so cheap. You know, but raising a daughter is expensive.
I looked it up. He is the owner, right?
Yeah.
But they did say he was the manager, which I guess.
He has the hard job of being the owner / manager.
Let's I want to acknowledge the noise.
Yeah.
I got a 2-month-old kitten yesterday. And she's all over the place.
So I did enjoy, you know, and so you have the cold open is the bratty girl and the party planner and the dad are, you know, they walk into the roller rink, and I will be 100% serious where I say that I enjoyed how that cold open, there's a nice little pan that goes from left to right, and as it pans over, parts of the roller rink start turning on, and it this fucking cat. It automatically transitions into a flashback, and the Chumbawamba music starts playing. And I did legitimately enjoy that little transition.
I would say the music in the whole movie is amazing.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's great. But talking about the opening, my note I have is the opening is blinding. I don't know why they chose like. It was like a crazy lens flare. It was like you couldn't see anyone's faces because the light was coming from behind everything.
That's
which is like that's like something they would use for a flashback or something.
Yeah.
Like, and they do use that same exact style for a flashback, or no, for a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Later in the movie, but this wasn't a dream sequence. This was an actual event that happened.
One of my notes that I have is, why is this entire movie so hazy? Because if you watch the majority of the movie, there's maybe 2 scenes where it isn't just absolutely everything covered in fog. So let's go back to the flashback sequence. It's showing the teens. It's his birthday party, and he's there, and he has a sick Rancid shirt on, and his girlfriend's there. And he's like, "Hey, baby, so when am I gonna get my present?" And everyone's just being the worst. And then they cut to our main character's father, and he's sitting there in that booth, and he's just staring at all these kids, and he just hates all of these kids. He just loathes them. And then it cuts to a couple making out, and I don't know if you noticed, but it sounds like a sequence from Tim and Eric. Them kissing is just like like slimy, just gross, and then it just shows him sternly glaring at everyone, and then his daughter just goes, "Are you ready, to go be the king of the rink?" And then he just goes, "Yeah, I guess I'll go do that." And so immediately after that, he's humiliated by the Rancid Kid, and then Rancid Kid goes back to the rink later on that night
to fuck that girl, right?
To fuck his girlfriend. And that part I thought was kind of weird, just because he was making fun of the rink so much, and then he decides to go back just so he can blast some Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit was the most memorable part of that scene.
Yeah. And the pool cue getting shoved through his face.
What is this, for jousting? I'm like, yeah, this is a jousting themed roller rink.
Yeah, it is a jousting stick. It is for jousting.
He snaps it in half.
But yeah, and so the king of the rink kills both of them, and that's when Sky decides to call the police. So Sky calls the cops. The cops come, and they arrest the dad. Mm-hmm. She's traumatized. That's when they reveal that he's killed multiple children over the years.
And he's dissolving them in tubs.
And he's dissolving them in tubs in the basement. And that's the one thing that I think. I legitimately enjoyed this movie overall. Mm-hmm. I thought they did a really good job. I really enjoy the idea that they took, this series that they were already making a lot of money on, My Super Sweet 16, and they took all these girls that we all hate. Mm-hmm. We all hated watching that show. Yeah. And it was a huge guilty pleasure for people, just because it was about greed and narcissism, and people loved watching it. And they took that and they did, in my opinion, the perfect thing that you could do with that, which is, let's watch them get murdered, because we clearly hate these people. And so the ultimate thing that you could do is let's see them, instead of getting what they want, get death.
That's what we're all thinking.
It's what we're all thinking, and I think that they made the right decision to make this kind of movie.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's perfect. It has a built-in, you want to see these people die because they're terrible, and they did a great job with that. The only thing that I really think that they could improve on is, I think that they could have hinted more towards the idea that maybe Sky would end up becoming like her father, because they don't really hint to that too much. And then at the end of the movie, not to jump ahead super far, but at the end of the movie, there's that turning point where her father slams the knife down into the table, and he's like, "You kill her." Yeah. And there isn't really we didn't have that much of a build up towards whether or not she would follow in her father's footsteps, and so when she does end up being like, fuck you, like, I'm not like you, it doesn't have as much of a payoff as if it had been built up the entire time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I was expecting that, or like a Carrie type situation. Yeah, something to where, like, I guess I expected her father to come back, obviously, because they said they couldn't find his body. Yeah, but I was almost thinking that maybe she would be the one that was killing people there. Yeah, and maybe he would come in and stop her. Like, I don't know, but I was expecting him to be the main slasher in this movie.
Yeah, and you know, you also expect around this time, I don't know if you remember the movie Shrooms.
Oh, I've heard of it. It was I saw it on Netflix or something.
Yeah, it was on Netflix for a really long time, but Shrooms was around the same time. It was 2009, 2010. And Shrooms there was a huge wave of horror movies where every single one of them had the same twist, where it was the girl that is running and is scared of the serial killer. Twist is the serial killer the whole time. And so that was the thing when this movie came out, because I saw this when it premiered. When this movie came out, that's what I was anticipating. I was anticipating that the twist was her father had been dead this whole time, and that she was actually the one that was doing it. And then it doesn't happen. It just ends up being that she's a good girl, and that's it.
But it does kind of leave the door open that she has some part of him in her, because she locks. I mean, we're going to the very end of the movie here, but
yeah,
she refuses to kill Madison.
Yeah.
And she's trying to help Madison escape her father. And then the whole time Madison's like, "You fucking bitch. Yeah. Like, hurry up. Like, it's my 16th birthday." And she fucking locks Madison in that cage with her father. And I'm assuming he kills Madison. So she did murder, or she had some hand in murder.
Yeah, potentially. We don't really see what happens.
Okay.
You know, because she walks out and all the cops run by, and she's just like, they're in the basement. They don't question her. She just walks
right
away.
Past.
She walks past everyone. So going back to the beginning of the movie. So after this huge, kill reveal happens, and there's a newsreel about what happened, and the body was never found, but we found these 6 other bodies in the basement. Then it cuts to 10 years in the future, and Skye is now, grown up, and she's in high school, and she's super emo, and she's in her bed, and her aunt comes in, and she's like, "What, are you even gonna come to school today? You're gonna be late." And then after says that, then Skye's alarm goes off, which is super confusing, because it's like, is she gonna be late, or is her alarm going off and she's gonna be on time? Whatever, it doesn't matter. So then it shows Skye, and she's in high school, and it's a regular day, and then we get to the greatest thing ever, which is teen dialogue.
We meet.
I love teen dialogue in movies so much.
And the first little bit we get is the best in the whole movie. It's when they're introducing Briggs.
Yeah, Briggs and Kevin.
And I didn't know what his name was for maybe 45 minutes, because I was like, is it Brake? Is it Brink? But it is Briggs. And he's talking to his friend, and I think he had just dumped Madison.
Yeah.
They're talking about, and his friend goes, "Look, dude, you're cool, man. You're fun, and you're funny, and you're cool, and you're my friend." It was like, that's the first thing we hear about Brig.
And he talks about how, he's like, whatever, like, Madison's whatever, you'll just go out there and pick some just like regular chick, like, just go do whatever. And he says, this is a direct quote, "You nailing some rando would be way bomb." That's what I was just like, I love whenever people write this teen dialogue in movies. And so after he says, "You nailed some rando would be way bomb," that's when Skye walks up the steps, and he's like, "What about this goth chick slut, whatever?" And she starts talking to them, and she's being all cocky and cool, and my note that I had for that, which is a note that I have for all these teen movies, and one of the biggest series, Twilight, is the worst at this, which is any time that 2 teens are in love, and any time 2 teens have some sort of passion between them, the only way that they can express that for some reason is just like breathy exhales, where it's just like
You don't do that?
And I was just like anytime I watch one of these movies, it makes me so mad. It's like, is that really all that human connection is? It's just 2 people talking to each other, and they just exhale because they're so in love. like love is trapped inside their body, and it can only be released through exasperated breath. And then, so anytime that Sky is on the screen, it's just playing emo music, and it's like, we get it, she's different. Emo music. Okay. So then her friend shows up, and
I don't know his name.
she Darren. So her friend shows up, and he talks to her, and the two things that are brought up when he shows up are, one, he wants her to take his virginity.
Yeah.
He says that straight off the bat. That's the first thing that he says. And then the second thing that he says is, we're best friends.
Yeah, no, that's what I was real. I was like, what is going on with this relationship? Like, if your best friend is a girl, which is awesome, fine. Like, you don't bring up having sex with her like that.
Yeah.
That was real fucking weird.
Yeah. And that's, there's multiple hints to that later when she's like, stay out of my underwear drawer. He's like, that's that one time.
I have a note. I was like, he fucking sniffed her panties.
He sniffed her panties.
Like, you don't sniff your best friend's panties.
Or do you?
Everyone does it.
But that was, the same thing with Kevin and Brig. Like, they have to announce that they're friends. And the same thing with Darren and Sky.
We're friends.
Like, he's like, we're best friends. He literally says, we're best friends.
Yeah. Like, his only character trait is that he's super horny. That's the only thing that he has going for him.
Like,
when they're at the house, like, he's on his computer and he's just watching porn with her, like, next to her.
Yeah. He opens up his laptop and it's just
like,
playing porn.
Yeah, like,
and she's like, what is that? And he's like, ooh. But yeah, so then it shows a really quick cut of Sky, and she's swimming, and she gets out, and then she goes to the shower, and then there's actually like a kind of nice little like kind of Carrie homage where she's walking, and then it pans down, and it shows there's a whole bunch of blood underneath her feet, and it kind of reminded me of like
those vibes,
the Carrie bathroom scene, and then she goes in, and all of her clothes are now trashed and torn up and covered in paint, and that's when they introduce Lily, who's Madison's friend, but she also hates Madison and is sick of Madison's shit. She looks 30. Like, everyone else in this movie is like in their 20s. She looks real old. And she doesn't look bad. She's very attractive.
She looks like she should be in the workforce.
She's
30 something, definitely.
Yeah, she looks like she should be in a different movie. But she talks to Sky, and she's just like, yeah, I'm sorry that Sky is such a bitch, but obviously she's doing this stuff to you because she thinks that you have a chance with Briggs. Is it Briggs or Brig?
I think it's Brig.
I was just been calling him the guy that played Flash in Amazing Spider-Man. Because that's what he did. Yeah. And so Sky ends up leaving the locker room after talking to the wonderful Lily, and that's when she's confronted by Madison and her little bitch brigade, which stars Olivia, discount Taylor Swift, and then Madison, who in my opinion looks like a discount Kristen Bell. And they confront her, and Madison says, and I quote, "You could die, and the yearbook wouldn't waste an inch of space on you."
She's brutal in this movie to everyone.
She's so harsh. But yeah, and so then her week continues, and Brig is slowly making his moves in on Sky, and then it's really weird that he ends up getting the invite to the Super Sweet 16 party, and they're so shocked about that. I didn't understand why that was such a big reveal.
Yeah, because Madison obviously still wanted him. Like, her whole goal was to hook up with him again. And get back.
Yeah. And so why is it that was like a huge emotional moment where like he looks at her with those like, I'm sorry kind of eyes, and she's just like, oh, I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have trusted you. It's like, of course he's gonna get invited. You
he's
idiot.
Like he's the most popular boy in the school.
And so, Madison, like, the party's getting closer and closer. Madison ends up, she's like, Daddy, take me shopping, because, they have to show that kind of trash. And so that's when the dad goes, I actually hired a personal shopper from California to come fly down and give you all this stuff. And then Madison says, I don't want any mall MILF wear.
She says, she says, are you retarded? She says, I don't want this mall MILF wear.
I don't want this discount mall mom MILF wear.
It was all very nice pieces of clothing. I mean, it was...
Yeah, but and then the other thing is that, her actual outfit that she gets for her party isn't that much different than any of the stuff she complained about.
I would say her party in general was kind of lame. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for the parties that I've seen on that show,
yeah,
hers was pretty tame in comparison.
Oh, yeah,
there
definitely.
There weren't any celebrities. They could have easily gotten some rapper or something to make an appearance. There was nobody.
There's no one.
There's a fucking roller rink.
Yeah.
That was kind of lame.
I mean, that was, the big deal is that roller rink is getting reopened. It's been a closed down business. So
there's a reason why it was closed down.
Yeah.
Because, like, no one goes to those anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're saying
like a failed business.
You're saying the reason it didn't reopen is not because there was a grisly murder, but because there's no longer a market for roller.
Yeah.
I'll agree.
Teens don't go there anymore.
Yeah, no one goes to roller. You're right. Yeah.
But
so
I know I just shit on her party, but her cake was pretty cool.
The cake that looked
original,
like sushi. Yeah, the original one.
So she told her dad she wanted a sushi cake, and her dad took it as a regular cake shaped like a piece of sushi.
Yeah.
So it was just like a big salmon roll. And she was like, "Are you stupid? I meant like premium sushi pieces, 5 tiers."
Yeah.
And then he somehow manages to get that in like 10 minutes.
I that's just presentation. That's not a cake then. That's my thing.
Exactly.
And also you have tables of dudes that are half naked and there's sushi on top of them. Why do you need more sushi?
Yeah.
People are already eating sushi. What are they going to be like? Oh, that's last sushi didn't fill me up.
It's not dessert.
Is it slightly better sushi?
It's not dessert.
It's not dessert.
Her dad had the right idea.
Yeah. Because you get a cake.
Just one more thing to hate her for.
Yeah,
That's all that was.
That was all right. So my favorite part is when she first comes out. Right before she comes out, the party planner is my favorite because he goes up to her and he's just like, "Are you sure you're 16?" And she's like, yeah, I'm 16. Yeah. And then he tries to make out with her, and Madison goes, "Stop, I'm a kid." And he goes, "So, I just want to make celebration time." I love that part.
He's the first one to die, I think.
And then, so he's the first one to die, because he tries making out with her because he wants to make celebration time. And then, he sends her out, and she starts dancing and everything. She's doing her little party, and then he's left alone, and he continues drinking, and he's like, "Psh," she goes, "Gross, you're like 30," and then when she leaves, he's like, "Psh, 35, bitch." And then the party is then going and is underway, and that's when he's immediately killed off. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about this movie is that the King of the Rink has a whole bunch of different weapons, and they're all real cool.
They're awesome.
And that first one that he uses is like a weird pronged like staff of some sort, and that thing's real cool. And that's also when he stabs the guy and then he pulls it back, it splashes really cheesy 3D blood on the camera, and I was like, yeah, that's sick. But yeah, and so then the party's underway, and Skye thinks that she sees her dad, and I will say I really like that shot, other than once again it's a really hazy looking shot
of him up on the balcony like that.
I like the shot of from the top of the stairs looking down on her as she walks up.
Gotcha.
I think that's a really, really good shot that they picked.
Yeah, I would say a lot of these shots are great.
Yeah.
I mean, There was a few that were a little weird, like the intro with the light. That was like you couldn't see any of the characters' faces.
Yeah, and there's
like some weird choices, but I would say like camera placement and stuff like that was never an issue. It was always like, why is the film so hazy? Why is the lighting like this?
There's also so in the beginning of the movie there's a library scene where Olivia's talking to Madison, and Olivia's just going, "You will not believe who Brig was talking to." And during that sequence, there's maybe 30 cuts. It is the most aggressively edited sequence I have ever seen.
Well, I think it's Madison. I think when they're going to pick up the clothes, they all get in in her dad's car, and they cut for each door slamming. It's like click, 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 click. It's like, what the is going on?
That sounds about right. But yeah, and so there's that really nice tense shot of her. She thought she saw her dad, and she starts walking up to the top of the stairs, and that's when Kevin the bully reveals that it's actually him underneath the mask, and he was just fucking with her. He's like, "Oh, Daddy's gone. It makes you sad." Which is just so
what
harsh.
was his deal?
He was just the worst. Well, you wanted to have sex with Madison.
I know.
And so he's just trying to get on her side, and so he's being a dick to everyone she doesn't like.
Brutal.
But yeah, and so that's fine, because then he dies. He gets
right after that.
He gets bludgeoned to death by a hammer.
Because guess what? Her father is watching everything.
Yeah.
Every mean thing happening to her.
Yeah. And so the party continues going. Darren has a little side story with Lily. She's the reason that they got into the party, because she doesn't really like Madison, and so then she gets wasted, and she's like, "I don't know why, but I think you look real cute right now." And so then they decide to go off and make out. And then,
that was after he gets trapped by
Kevin.
Yeah. I really like that scene. That's where he gets the mask.
Yep, that's where. Yeah,
but Darren's screams are the funniest part of the movie.
Yeah.
He screams. Lily even says something. She's like, someone who screams like that.
Yeah. He was like, "How did you find me?" And she goes, "I just found this part that screams like a girl." And he's like, "Oh, you heard that." But so the party is continuing, and then the one part makes absolutely zero sense to me, which is Discount Taylor Swift and Olivia are trying to get Sky into the bathroom so that they can spray her with a fire extinguisher, which I guess is supposed to, I don't know, embarrass her and make her go home. Like, whatever.
It was a terrible plan.
It was a terrible plan because it was Discount Taylor Swift's idea. She clearly has autism. And so Olivia's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll figure out how to get her into the bathroom," because Discount Taylor Swift once again goes, "I figured out the fire extinguisher. You figure out the rest."
she figured out
the fire extinguisher. You have to figure out the rest. And so that's when Olivia goes and she just dumps an entire drink on top of Sky. And when that happens, that gets to the part that makes no sense to me. So there's like a fuck station at this Sweet 16. You know what I'm talking about. It's that area where it's literally just a bunch of translucent white sheets
and like beach chairs
that are surrounding like really nice beds, and that's clearly just all it is. It's clearly just an area for people to have sex and for people to watch other people have sex. And so
it's the orgy tent.
That's the orgy tent for the Sweet 16. Who knows where it is in relationship to the roller rink. But Madison lures Brig in there and then just starts making out with him on a bed, and this really sick song kicks in, and they're grooving on it, and Brig is just like, "No, stop." Now Sky is on her way to the bathroom. Logically, she should just go straight to the bathroom, but for some reason she's drawn. "Ooh, fuck tent," and she goes in there, and that's when she catches Brig with Madison, which once again, it makes zero sense that would happen.
Oh yeah.
She's lured there for no reason other than to serve the plot, which
is fine. I mean,
I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
And so as that's happening, you know, Lily's getting pissed at Madison for being the worst, and so she decides that she is going to key Madison's new BMW, and so she scratches.
She really fucks that car up. I mean, that's a terrible noise to hear, and they really go at it in this movie.
She scratches Happy Sweet 16 into the hood. She does it very thoroughly.
And thank God this car was not a Lexus.
Thank God it was not a Lexus.
Because I would vom if it was a Lexus.
And so she scratches that into the entire hood, and then she drunkenly sits in front of it, you know, because she, I guess, wants to be caught for her crimes. That way everyone knows that she did it. And then the lights turn on and it starts pushing into the back of her head. And when it pushes into the back of her head, she gets up and turns around and goes, "Ha ha, whatever, lame." And then the car slams her into the wall. And then she runs away.
Yeah.
You should not be able to run away after that.
It was shot like it broke her legs.
It was shot like it broke her legs. Like that, when they show the point of impact, you're like, oh, she's dead. And then the car pulls away and she just runs. And you're like, what? Oh, okay.
She doesn't even die by the car. Like,
No,
she
she
climbs
gets her
up.
throat slashed.
Yeah, he chases her on foot.
Yeah, and he has a sword.
He has a new weapon every time he kills somebody.
Yeah, every time. But yeah, and so then that leads us to the theoretically last death of the movie, which is so Discount Taylor Swift, when the father catches Discount Taylor Swift in the bathroom with a fire extinguisher, he rips the fire extinguisher out of her hand and beats her to death with it. And so then Olivia goes into the bathroom to, you know, take a little tinkle. And when that is happening, that is when she sees Discount Taylor Swift's dead body. She runs out of the bathroom to warn everybody.
Slow-mo.
And then the best death happens,
Yeah,
which
by
is
far.
when the dad decapitates her and her headless body rolls into the sushi cake. That part's so good.
It's so good. Her dad, yeah, it's like in the middle of her dad's speech.
Yeah.
It's like never ending.
And he's just going on and on about how proud he
And then her
is.
headless body is running and it falls into the cake.
So good.
And then right after that, the place evacuates. Everyone's freaking
yeah.
out. And I love how it's a mixture of people running and then people on roller skates. And some people are like falling. It's like, it's so good.
So immediately after that, you know, there's the confrontation that we already talked about with the king and Madison, and he brings Madison and Sky down into the basement, and that's when he's like, you know, be like me, kill this terrible person. She was terrible to you. And then there's the turn where she decides to not do that, and she ends up leaving Madison with the king in the basement, and then she just bails. And she just ends up leaving, and then there's a fake out ending where Brig is in the hospital and he thinks that Madison comes and kills him. Sky comes and kills him, and then he wakes up and he's just like, oh, I thought that Sky was here. And then the nurse goes, oh, Sky? No one's seen her in days, which is a weird thing that she would know, but whatever. And then he sees that she left him a little picture of herself, which is very narcissistic of her, but we'll let it slide.
There.
So she was there. But yeah, I mean, overall, I suggest this movie. I enjoyed it
Oh
thoroughly.
yeah, it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
It was a good slasher flick.
Yeah.
There's the gore's like, it's comical, but it's good.
Yeah.
You know, decapitations and lots of red blood.
Yeah. Really red blood. Yeah. 10 out of 10. They killed it.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. It's a perfect movie.
It's probably the most perfect movie we've watched on this podcast so far,
Yeah.
besides Sabrina. I know you love Sabrina, dude.
I do love Sabrina. That was really good.
So what's next week's movie?
We can still do Craigslist Killer.
Yeah, I want to do Craigslist Killer.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Next week we'll watch the Craigslist Killer.
yeah.